A devil has fallen in love with you. Nobody has handled them like you have. You felt it, haven't you? That you were never meant to blend in. That you carry something different, something powerful. But what if I told you that something dark has noticed? Not just anything, the devil himself. But this time, he's not here to destroy. He's here because he's obsessed with you. Today, we're diving into a truth that might change how you see yourself forever. Why do the strongest souls face the hardest battles? Why does darkness seem drawn to those who carry the most light? If you've ever felt this, you're not imagining things. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why. Before we jump in, hit that subscribe button and join Grace Bible Stories. We're on a mission to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you is part of something bigger than just a video. Like and share this, and stay until the end, because what I'm about to reveal might unlock something powerful within you. Let me tell you a story. David always knew he was different. He's been through betrayal, loss, battles that should have broken him. But something inside him refused to bend. And then, one day, something noticed. Not an angel, not even God, but a force darker than anything he had ever known. The devil himself. But for the first time, he wasn't in control. Because David wasn't like the others. And that changed everything. Keycap 1: The man who shook the devil and never bowed. You ever feel like you don't quite fit in? Like you're walking between two worlds, one filled with light, the other with shadows? You're not alone. There's a man named David. And if you've ever felt different, if you've ever questioned why life seems harder for you than for others, his story is your story. David wasn't special in the way the world defines it. He wasn't a king, a prophet, or a warrior. But there was something about him, something unshakable. Life had thrown its worst at him. He'd been betrayed by people he trusted, abandoned when he needed help the most. He carried wounds, some visible, some buried deep where no one could see. Yet somehow, through it all, he never truly broke. And that's when something noticed. Not an angel, not even God, but something darker. David had no idea that every battle he had survived had drawn the attention of a force beyond human comprehension. A force that had brought down empires, whispered into the ears of rulers, and turned the strongest hearts to dust. The devil himself. But here's the twist. This time, the devil wasn't here to destroy. He was here because he was obsessed with David, with what he couldn't understand. You see, David carried something the devil had never encountered before. It wasn't power, at least not in the way the world sees power. It wasn't status or strength. It was something far more dangerous. David carried an unshakable presence. And in a world where deception rules, where fear bends even the greatest souls, the one thing the devil could never control was someone who simply refused to bow. So, what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Let's find out. Keycap 2: The first encounter, the devil's tactic versus their unshakable presence. David didn't see it coming. The shift in the air. The unexplainable weight pressing down on him, like a stone rolling in before the first crack of thunder. Then, he appeared. Not in flames. Not in horns and shadows. But in a form almost too familiar. The kind of presence that makes your skin prickle, not from fear, but from something deeper, recognition. The devil had been watching, studying, waiting. He had brought down kings and prophets, saints and warriors, and now he stood before David, convinced this moment would end just like all the others. At first, he came with whispers. Promises laced in gold, temptations wrapped so beautifully they barely looked like chains. "Haven't you suffered enough?" he murmured. "Haven't you earned a break?" David listened, but he didn't move. So the devil changed tactics. Doubt. A blade sharper than any sword. "What if you're wrong?" he pressed. "What if everything you believe is a lie?" David stood still. The air grew colder. The shadows stretched. The devil unleashed fear, the kind that seeps into your bones, the kind that turns even the strongest minds into prisoners of their own thoughts. And yet, nothing. David did not tremble. He did not argue. He did not fight. He simply stood, like an ancient tree rooted too deep for any storm to shake. And that was when something cracked. The devil wasn't used to this. He thrived on reaction, fear, hatred, submission. He played the game of power, of twisting minds, of making even the righteous fall. But David wasn't playing. For the first time, the devil felt something he had never known before. Powerless. This moment changed everything. Because when darkness meets a soul that does not bend, it is not the soul that breaks. It is the darkness itself. Are you ready for what happens next? Comment "I stand firm" below if you feel this truth within you. Like this video, share it, and let's step into the next chapter, because this battle is only beginning. Keycap 3: The turning point, the unraveling of darkness. The devil had always been in control. He spoke, and men listened. He tempted, and they fell. He deceived, and they believed. But this time, something was wrong. David didn't react the way he was supposed to. He didn't tremble, didn't beg, didn't bargain. He simply stood there, unmoved, unshaken. And in that silence, something unexpected happened. The devil felt exposed. It was subtle at first. A flicker. A feeling he hadn't known in eons. Doubt. For the first time, the master manipulator found himself on the other side of the game. He threw everything at David: temptation, fear, lies. But none of it landed. It was like punching into the wind, like trying to grasp smoke. David wasn't playing by the rules. And then, something even more dangerous happened. David looked at him. Not with fear. Not with hatred. But with something far more unsettling: understanding. The devil had never been seen like this before. He had always existed in shadows, lurking behind deception and power. But now, under David's unshakable gaze, he was naked. Exposed. And for the first time, he wondered, was this what he had been running from all along? This wasn't a battle of good versus evil. This wasn't light versus dark. This was truth versus illusion. The power had shifted. For centuries, the devil had relied on one thing: reaction. Fear, anger, submission. That's how he controlled kings, prophets, even nations. But when David refused to play, the game collapsed. And here's the thing: this isn't just about David. This is about you. About every moment when darkness tries to shake you, to break you, to make you forget who you are. But what if the real battle was never about defeating the darkness, but about refusing to let it define you? Take a moment. Think about that. If this resonates with you, comment "I see the truth" below. Keycap 4 Biblical Parallels and Lessons. You've seen this before. Maybe not in your own life, but in the greatest stories ever told. This moment, the standoff between darkness and an unshakable soul, is nothing new. It's woven into history, into scripture, into the very fabric of faith itself. Think about Jesus in the wilderness. 40 days. No food, no comfort, no safety. And then, temptation. The devil himself stood before him, offering the world in exchange for a single moment of weakness. Power, riches, dominion. And what did Jesus do? He didn't fight. He didn't debate. He simply spoke the truth. Or consider Daniel in the lion's den. Thrown into a pit of death, surrounded by roaring beasts, yet he didn't run. He didn't beg. He stood firm. And in that presence, the mouths of the lions were shut. And then there's Paul in prison. Shackled. Abandoned. Beaten. Yet in the darkness of his cell, he sang. Because even behind bars, he was free. So what does this mean for you? It means your struggles, the battles that try to break you, are not proof of weakness. They are proof of your strength. The devil doesn't chase the weak. He doesn't waste his time on those who are already lost. He goes after the ones who carry light. The ones he can't control. The ones who, no matter what he throws at them, still stand firm. So if you're facing darkness right now, if you feel like you're being tested, ask yourself this: what if this battle isn't here to break you? What if it's here to reveal who you really are? Comment "I stand firm" below if this speaks to you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, like, and share this video, because someone out there needs to hear this today. But stay with me, because what happens next? It's the revelation that changes everything. Keycap 5 The Ultimate Revelation, the Power of Light. The devil always believed he was the one in control. He whispered, and the world listened. He was tempted, and men fell. He was deceived, and they surrendered. But not this time. David didn't break. He didn't fight. He simply stood in truth. And that was the moment everything changed. For the first time, the devil saw himself, not as the predator, but as the one being transformed. It was never about David losing himself to darkness. It was about darkness losing itself in David's light. And this is where the real test begins. Because, my friend, this isn't just about David. It's about you. You who have faced battles no one else sees. You who have been tested, pushed, challenged in ways that should have broken you. But you're still here. You're still standing. Why? Because, like David, you are one of the chosen ones. The devil doesn't waste his time on the weak. He goes after those who carry something he cannot control, an unshakable presence, an unbreakable truth. And now, the question turns to you. When darkness comes knocking, when fear whispers in your ear, when life tries to shake you, what will you do? Will you crumble under its weight, or will you stand? Because, in the end, the battle was never about defeating the devil. It was about mastering yourself. If you feel this truth in your soul, comment "I stand in truth" below. Stay strong. Stay unshaken. Because you were never meant to be ordinary. The truth that sets you free, and the battle you were born to win. So, what if the battle was never about defeating darkness, but about refusing to let it define you? David didn't fight the devil. He didn't try to destroy him. He simply stood in truth. And that truth was enough. Because darkness has no power over a soul that refuses to be shaken. And neither does fear. Neither does doubt. And now, this truth belongs to you. If you've made it this far, it means something inside you already knows this. You are one of the chosen ones. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are standing exactly where you are meant to be. And the moment you realize that, the game changes. Let this message sink in. And if it speaks to you, subscribe to Grace Bible Stories, because this is just the beginning. Like this video, share it, because someone out there needs to hear this today. Maybe a friend. Maybe a stranger. Maybe even you, a few months from now. Now, tell me, how do you face the darkness in your life? Drop a comment below, or just write, "I stand in truth." And when you're ready, there's another message waiting for you. Click on the next video. Let's keep going.